Welcome back to an instant-ish reaction edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your co-host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again is my co-host, Richie Schneiderite. Richie, we have a new commitment to the football team that we're going to talk about. And we also have a bit of an update on the whole transfer saga of Rutgers basketball. But we'll get into that later. First and foremost, we have a new commitment from Isaiah Crumpler. He's a North Carolina wide receiver. He's 6'1", 180 pounds. And he's got a pretty extensive athletic lineage, which we'll go into as well. But just tell us a little bit about Isaiah the player.
Yeah, so he's the fifth commitment for Rutgers in the past 20 days. He's 6'1", 180-pound receiver. I know some people are saying he's going to come in as an athlete, but I'm being told receiver first. Could he play safety at the next level? Yeah, I mean, he definitely could, but receiver first. They're really big fans of his some of his receiving skills. He's got good hands. He's not the fastest dude in the world. I think his best time was a 11.8 in the 100-meter. So he does run track. He's still not slow either, but at 6'1", 180, it's pretty decent. 55 receptions for 600 yards, 5 touchdowns last year, had 86 tackles on defense. Like I said, he could play defense going forward, but it's going to start out in offense. And then, like you mentioned, he has NFL bloodlines. His two brothers are Algie Crumpler and Carlister. I don't even know how I'm saying that.
Crumpler,
Carlister.
yeah.
Crumpler, both played in the NFL for several years. I'm sure most of you probably know Algie Crumpler, a 4-time Pro Bowler, Falcons, Titans, Patriots. I think that's it.
His dad also played in the NFL as well.
Yeah, so there you go. It's this is a really good get, and this is Rutgers' first get from North Carolina since Schiano's been back. Yeah, since he rejoined the program in December 2019. So kind of extending the quote unquote state of Rutgers a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't want to throw Isaiah's mom under the bus either. She also was an ECU grad. So there's a lot of ECU grads in their family, but she's in the ECU Athletic Hall of Fame in track.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just like a kid who's got athletes all over the place in his family tree.
Yeah.
So comes from great bloodlines. He's obviously a guy that the staff targeted. He's the first receiver committed to the class, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking through it now. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so this is a guy that the staff really wanted. Yeah, you gotta take a kid like this if he wants to come to Rutgers, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I really think this is a pretty solid get. You don't have any receivers, like you mentioned. This is going to be number one for them. And he's from North Carolina. People might not know much about North Carolina because, like I said, Rutgers doesn't recruit it too much. But he's ranked 27 in the state there for us. And the top 30 kids, I think it's more than 30, though, all have Power 5 offers. There's several Power 5 commits. They have a 5-star in North Carolina. So it's not like they don't produce talent. They produce a ton of talent. It's just a area that Rutgers really hasn't touched too much. And I think you're going to see that change up a little bit going forward as they keep expanding that state of Rutgers.
Yeah, and Crumpler, he spurned, his family's school, ECU. He had an offer from them. He decided to go to Rutgers instead, so that's always a good sign. Rutgers beat out James Madison as well for this commitment. He didn't have a huge offer list, but that doesn't necessarily always mean that, he's not a great player.
No,
but
not at all. Duke was after him pretty heavily too. I know it was the only other Power 5 offer, but he did take some other visits. I know North Carolina
took a ton of visits, yeah.
Yeah, North Carolina State was very, very close to offering, but he ran a slower time at their camp in a 40, and a lot of schools which just judge based off 40, and I just don't think that's correct. I think you should watch the film, number one. But that's how a lot of schools operate. Like, it's just like, hey, run a 40 time in front of us. If you don't run this, then you're not getting an offer. If you run this, we'll give you an offer. We hear it all the time, but that was the case with North Carolina State. I'm a little surprised North Carolina didn't offer because they're obviously around the corner too. But Duke pushed pretty heavily. He's been to Duke several times. I think this is just a good get. I'm a little shocked he doesn't have more offers though, because his tape kind of screams like he's a pretty good player, and the NFL bloodlines tell me he's a really good player, or has the potential to be a really good player.
Yeah, a little bit surprising, but that's to our gain or to Rutgers' gain. So
Yeah,
not going to complain there. But there were some rumors that other commitments are on the horizon for the football team. Are you hearing the same thing? Is there possibly some more commitments in the next coming days?
Yeah, I think you'll see one. A certain poster of ours kind of hinted at quite a bit. Shout out Lenny. So you can kind of guess based off that it's definitely a kid from New York. I'm not going to go too much into detail because I don't want to ruin the kid's moment or anything like that. But I think you guys can kind of figure out and put the pieces together to figure out who that one is. I did say in the war room, I want to say 2 days ago, 3 days ago, whatever it was, that I thought the next kid was going to be a defensive commit, and then Crumpler comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, all right, shit. Like, well, now I look like an idiot.
Yep.
Like, he was actually supposed to decide in June after his official to Rutgers. Had an official visit set up to East Carolina too, but I obviously don't see that one happening anymore. But
Yep.
yeah, so this just kind of came out of nowhere, and now it sounds like they're gonna keep riding this hot streak on the recruiting trail. 5 in 20 days, and it's probably gonna be 6, maybe 7 in the next like 28 days. We'll go with 30 days, something like that. So they're just gonna keep riding that hot streak, and then they're gonna go into June with official visits where they have a ton of kids coming to campus. And I'm actually gonna submit a future cast. I'll do it on here, I guess, technically first, but um, they're gonna strike in North Carolina again. They're gonna get Benjamin Black, wide receiver out of Mallard Creek, North Carolina. Now he's not really anywhere near um, what do you call it, Isaiah Crumpler's school. He's, I think, what would you say, 4 hours away?
Yeah, it's like 4 hours away. So Crumpler plays in Charlotte, and Black plays in. No, I'm sorry. So
No, vice versa. Yeah.
Black plays in Charlotte. Crumpler plays in Greenville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and Benjamin Black is a speedster. He could play either side of the ball. He's 5'11", 165. Just to give you some background on him, he's got a good list of offers, probably kind of similar to Crumpler's offers too. Duke being that main one, Georgia Tech, Marshall, Old Dominion. There's a couple names out there, but this is a kid that was on campus in April. He liked his visit a lot. Scheduled him official like immediately. He runs a crazy fast speed. He ran a 4.3840 at I don't know what camp this was, one of the college camps. Then he ran a 10.700 meter dash, and to put that in perspective, that would have qualified him for what we say, finals for states or whatever.
Yeah. So the finals, the qualifiers for the New Jersey finals were 10.77 was the fastest time in the qualifiers.
Yeah, so it looks like he probably would have qualified. He finished, helped Mallard Creek, another track guy. They want speed. They want a ton of speed, and that's pretty clear as day. But yeah, no, I like this kid a lot. I think he's another one that's going to be a solid player down the line. So keep striking down there in North Carolina. And honestly, they're just going to, if these Jersey kids don't want to stay home, they're just going to say, fuck it, we're going out of state. We're going to go down to North
Yeah.
Carolina, Virginia, over to Wisconsin now, Michigan. Like it's kind of crazy, but this is how it works now. You don't want to help us, we're going to go out somewhere else and find someone else that will. So, and it's working. So
Yeah, North Carolina is a state that always seems to have a ton of talent. I was just looking through their top 30 this
yeah,
year,
it's really
and
good.
obviously they got Jaden Davis, who's top 10 player in the country. But Notre Dame has three commitments from kids from the same high school, which is wild.
That's yeah,
Charlotte Catholic, a tight end, a wide receiver, and an outside linebacker. Uh, Pretty
yeah,
wild.
it's impressive. Like I said before, it's a good state to get into, be involved with. So that's what Duke, North Carolina State, North Carolina are making their money off of. So
Yep.
go down there and steal a couple.
So, is there anything else football related that you wanted to hit on before we transition over to basketball?
Not that I can think of. I think for the most part, no, that's pretty much it. It seems like that the couple commitments, for Isaiah Crumpler, all these guys are in NFL camps right now. These former Rutgers dudes. So you probably saw us put out a post about Sean Ryan yesterday and the Baltimore Ravens. Um, this is football related, sort of. Greg Schiano golf outing got announced yesterday at Fiddler's Elbow. It's always a fun time. Working on some sponsorships there, so we'll see what happens. We'll hopefully get
That'd be cool.
a nice T box whatever sponsor or something like that. I don't know. I'm still looking at. There's so many like things you could sponsor. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's for a good cause too. It's all for the Chop to Change and Chop for Change, the Bob Mulcahy Scholarship Fund, and I forget what the third one is. There's something Athletes in Action. So it's all for a great cause. So if you haven't signed up yet, go sign up. I think it's like 500 a person, which it's a donation. Like at the end of the day, just think of it like that, and you get to say hi to Greg, and I think you get to take a photo with him or something. But
Yeah, great opportunity to have a keepsake from Rutgers football. So
yeah,
if
so
if
that's
you have the $500 laying around, you like golf, you support Rutgers athletics. Great opportunity
exactly.
to show it.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's all I got for that.
Let's go to basketball now. So there was a lot of scuttlebutt in the last few days about a potential transfer out, a big time transfer out. Uh, it seems like the situation is kind of in flux right now. Why
Yeah.
don't you kind of talk about the situation, and I guess we could finally put a name out there, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty well known to everyone that it's Mag. It's Malat Mag. He's considering a transfer out. It sounded like it was a done deal, and everything was like he's gone. There's nothing we could do. It sounds like Rutgers is trying to recruit him back to trying to keep him on campus, keep him with the Scarlet Knights. Obviously, you don't want to lose him.
Yep.
For those of you that are saying, whether it be in the Discord where where I replied to a couple people, or on social media saying that like Mawat Mag, or whatever, it's Mag. He's not healthy. Who cares? I'm like, dude, what the no? Like,
Yeah.
look at the top lineups in the Big Ten. We posted it in there. I'll post it on Twitter. I'll post it on social media or our boards, whatever. If you look at those top lineups in the Big Ten last year, the top 2-man lineup, the top 3-man lineup, top 4-man lineup, top 5-man lineup. Rutgers is in those top 10 conversations, and they're not even just top 10 for some of those. They're like top 2 and top 3. And
Yeah.
some of those lineup combinations, it's like, yeah, Rutgers made 3 of the top 3-man lineups in the Big Ten last year, or 3 of the top 10 lineups in the Big Ten last year. And it's like, oh, what's the consensus? It's Mag, Amori, Spencer. It's Mag, Mulcahy, Amori. It's Mag, Spencer, um, Mulcahy. And it's like, oh, wait, who's the one guy that's in every single one? It's Mag, it's Mag, it's Mag.
Yep.
Their defensive efficiency ratings with him on the court, it's fucking insane.
It's like the number one in the country. It's
Yeah,
insane.
it's absolutely insane how good he or how much he helped that defense. And now you're not going to have him, or you might not have him. That would be tough. That's a tough loss, whether he's healthy, not healthy till January or not. He still has. It wouldn't just be this year. And then people are like, next year, well, Ace is coming and Ace is going to start. I'm like, yeah, no shit. But you want a defender on the court still. Like, yes, it's
Yep.
great. It's great. Ace is a good defender too. Don't get me wrong. Dylan Harper's a good player overall on both sides of the court. That's fine. You should need a lockdown defender among that group. That's why, like most of these teams, like you see in the NBA, they'll have a bunch of shooters, but then they'll put like a lockdown defender. Like look at the Celtics. Marcus Smart's out there for solely for defensive purposes.
Yep.
You need a guy like that out there, and that's where Mag could help, putting him next to an Ace Bailey and a Dylan Harper and Delquan, whatever. So yeah, maybe he might not be back till late December, early January. But if you want to make any type of run, we saw what the depth was this year when an injury happens. You need guys like Mag on that team. So I think they're going to do whatever it takes to try to convince him to stay. It's we're going to be sweating until May 11th, just waiting to see what happens. That's the deadline for kids to enter the portal. I know you can technically request a hardship waiver afterwards, but it sounds like it's insanely hard to do so. Especially because most of these hardship waivers are about going home, and his situation's a little in flux a little bit because he was born in Sudan, I believe, and then moved to Australia at the age of 2, then went to Florida for a couple of years, and then went over to Prolific Prep in California for a couple of years. And it's like, there's not really, a full-on home. I would argue Rutgers has been his home, but that's where it's a little tricky. So I don't think the hardship's even in the question. So I think it's May 11th. That's it. He decides, and it's either going to be he's in the portal or he's not in the portal. Now, if he's in, it's not the end-all be-all. I did hype him up quite a bit. I'm not going to lie. I think it would be great to have him on the team. But if he's not going to be a part of the team, you go hit the portal. You go get like a Jay Powell or a Weeza Panzo or someone like that and kind of fill that void temporarily. And maybe Gavin Griffiths just steps up and starts right away. I didn't project him to start from day one, but if you don't have Mag, it might make sense to start him from day one because then you'll have an offensive threat that can kind of move around and get another body out of the paint. So then it's just Cliff one-on-one with whoever that big man is. And you kind of go from there. There's other options. You could go Andre Hyatt too, but we saw that experiment, and I think I saw enough of that experiment actually. So let's just put that one to bed.
Yeah, Hyatt's still a great player. It's just relying on him as much as we did last year is just it's just not going to work. Yeah.
So if you want to make any type of run, I think you gotta hit the portal, and that's kind of what it seems like Pike's doing. And on top of that, this is kind of trickling into the other subject I wanted to touch on is the assistant coaching search. I don't think Pike touches that search or finishes that search until the portal is officially done with, whether it be portal in regards to his team currently with like a Mag situation or in portal in regards to adding someone. They definitely want to add someone regardless at that 4-5 role. More likely a 4 than a 5, but you kind of take what you can get and see what else is out there.
Yeah. Ideally, you pick up one more, veteran guy from the portal. The
Yeah.
portal, like we've said in the past, is pretty picked over at the moment.
Yeah.
So in terms of what's available, not great. Worst case scenario is you take a guy and he ends up, doing the whole. Who's the kid who was here for a year from like New Mexico State or something?
Um.
Ralph Agee,
Oh yeah.
um,
I
or
forgot all about him.
he's
Jesus.
veteran presence, but ultimately he's not good enough to really play in the Big Ten.
No.
It's obviously not ideal, but that's kind of like the worst case. You're looking at a 1 year guy
Yeah.
who ends up not being good enough to really contribute in a meaningful way.
Yeah. That's a tough one, just because like I thought he actually wasn't bad in practice, but he just when he gets on the court, it was like, oh, no, never mind, I lied. But
Yep.
yeah, he was just a body at that point. Maybe get like a CJ Geddes. Obviously, that's a starting caliber center, but like if you could find someone like him out there, or maybe I'm trying to think like a bigger, a little bit bulkier Hyatt, someone that like plays more of a 4-man role instead of a guard role. Because I still see Hyatt as a guard. He's just a big guard. That's what he calls himself too. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. I think ideally you get a 4, and that's probably your best bet. But I know it's positionless basketball too, so it's kind of like a 4/3/5/2. Like they're all interchangeable at this point. So,
Yep.
but yeah, stuff.
Yeah, so I guess it's a pretty good sign that Mag has not entered the portal yet because it's, from what we were hearing, it was basically, you heard it on, what was it, Tuesday night or Wednesday night?
Yeah, whatever. Oh, I forget when I texted you guys.
Yeah, so it was basically like, so I guess we could start with the genesis of you had heard a few weeks ago that there were some rumblings that he wasn't happy, and you were basically told that, it's not a thing, don't worry about it. And then
Yeah.
you were later told it was a thing, and that's where the post came from. And it was basically like he's gone. It's gonna, be tonight or tomorrow morning. Then tonight
Hmm.
came, nothing happened. Tomorrow morning came, nothing happened. A few days later, still nothing happened. So, my opinion, great sign that it hasn't happened yet. Means that somebody like he's obviously listening to what the coaches have to say.
Hmm.
Who knows what else is really involved with his, him not entering yet. But it's got to be a
Yeah.
good sign at the very least.
Yeah. No, I mean, it sounded like I said, it happened a couple weeks ago. Like you said, I guess happened a couple weeks ago. Someone said it to me. I brought it up to a couple sources. They're like, "No, that's not true." And I was like, "All right, fair enough. That's all I need to know." 3 weeks later, it's like, "Hey, how'd you find out about that?" And I'm like, "Oh, so it is true." And he goes, "It wasn't," and like somehow you knew weeks before everyone. And I'm like, "I'm not to my own horn here." I was just like, "Yeah, I don't know. Like, I hear rumors, man. Like that's how it works." Um, so yeah, and then they're like, "Yeah, so it sounds like he's gone," and it sounded like he was gone, but now all of a sudden it's like a whole flip flop. So it's like literally like a seesaw, but is right in the middle, and it's like just waiting to see what happens. Um, no one really knows. Like literally, no one knows what's going to happen. It's really tough to even guess, but um, it sounds like there's some NIL being involved with certain other programs, because that's just the world we live in, and it sounds like someone's trying to get a payday. Um, we'll see if it works out or not. I really don't know where this one's going to go. It's really too tough to call, and it's just a wait and see. And it sounds like one moment he's staying, one moment he's leaving now. And we'll kind of just wait until what is it, Wednesday, May 11th, Thursday. So wait
Yep.
till Thursday, end of day Thursday, I guess. But even then, I don't even know if we can wait till then, because technically, when they enter the portal, they can enter on the 11th, and it won't be public until the 13th, like we saw with some of the walk-ons recently, like Michael Wing and Amir Bird and someone else. I forget who else. Brad Harris. That's who it was.
Gotcha. Yeah, Brad Harris, another walk on that everybody was kind of excited for. I think he was a St. Joe's kid.
Yeah.
I think he was another guy who had some Power Five offers early on, like lower
He
level.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He made one of those All-Star games too. I forget what it was, Blue Gray All American or something like that. But
Hmm.
I think we're at the point where people have to realize, and this is kind of switching back to football recruiting too a little bit, but these PWOs, they're great. Some of them are like decent, like, and they're great special teams guys. They're great depth pieces, and that's kind of what they are now. Like PWOs are not going to be like these diamond in the roughs that Rutgers used to find back in the day. It's a little bit different because there's so much film out there. There's so much exposure for these kids to get out there to camps and stuff. So it's going to be so hard to find like a PWO that's going to be like a Sean O'Hara or a Gary Brackett or
Yep.
a Paul James even. Like I don't even think Paul James slips through the cracks anymore. Like I think that guy's found immediately now.
Yeah, and plus, like every single person, every high school, no matter how small or how big, now has some pretty professional level video work being done because it's so
Exactly.
easy. You can just record on your phone. It's not like you need
Yeah.
to have like thousands of dollars worth of equipment and then mail it out to all these schools.
Mhm.
Everything goes on Huddle, so everything's all in one place. So it's really hard for a kid to truly go under the radar unless they're in like their first year of playing football. That's a different story. But if
Yeah.
they played, even if they're at a really tiny school and there are tapes online, there's probably college coaches who see it, and those coaches talk to each other. So
Yeah, like even like the UC report slash Under Armour camp that I went to the other day. At the end of the camp, they talk about it all the time. They're like, yeah, so this entire session from today it was filmed. There's cameras everywhere. We send it to I think it's like how many Power 5 colleges are there? 70, I think.
yeah,
And he's like, yeah, just out of the 70, 69 of them will have the film within their inboxes within the next like 2 weeks. And I'm like, you guys just straight up send it to you. And for weirdly enough, Iowa's not part of that. I don't know why, but it's very odd. But every other school gets it. But these kids, like this one kid, like was MVP, had like one offer going into the camp. When that film gets to all these kids or all these schools, like I can guarantee you, he's gonna have more offers. And that's just it's so easy. Like it goes to their inbox. Like they don't even have to do
yeah,
anything. Like so, yeah, it's just so easy now for these kids to pop
to
up
get
and
exposure. Yeah,
yeah. So just want to throw that out there.
yeah, no, I totally agree. It's much harder to go unnoticed these days.
Yeah.
But the yin to that yang is that
Mhm.
colleges are committing fewer and fewer scholarships each year to high school kids. So
That's
that's,
part's
while
tough.
all these kids are known of now, most colleges are taking, 18 to 20 kids in a recruiting class rather than 25 to 30 that they were 5 years ago. So,
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, in terms of hoops recruiting, I'm looking at the portal right now just to see like if there's any notable names. There's like two, but I don't see Rutgers showing interest in either. Like Cyrus Sunday, who was at Iona, but he's more of a center. I don't know if you remember Rutgers offered him a while back out of New
mhm.
York. Muhammad or not Muhammad, Musa Sisi, but he's also kind of like a five. I don't know why he's listed as a power forward in the portal, but he's 7'1", so yeah, he's five. 7'1", 215 pounds, dude. Eat a cheeseburger. Like, damn. He went to Memphis, then oh, he he went to Memphis, then Oklahoma State. Sorry, my mic died for a sec, or my headphones. Um, but yeah, there's just I don't see anyone really like significant in the portal. I think Weeza Panzo is a good one. I think there's a kid from Fairfield I noticed. It was kind of interesting to me. In Alan Jean Rose, he averaged 10 and where am I looking at? 10 and 4. Started all the games for Fairfield last year. It's not bad numbers. Shot 52%, 17 from three. So just don't let him shoot threes. um, but yeah, I mean he's another one to keep an eye on. 6'7", 200 pounds. Like I'm trying to think. I don't see anyone really else significant. I think they're going to wait to see what Mag does and then kind of go from there. And it's a ballsy move, but it's the same thing with Cliff. They're not going to make a decision on Cliff or on a portal center until Cliff makes a decision. So yeah,
Yeah, which makes sense because you have to. A lot of these kids are only changing schools to get more playing time for the most part. Um, so they're not going to commit with this huge unknown, and I think it would leave a pretty bad taste in the kid's mouth if Pike told him he was going to get playing time, and then boom, you have your all Big Ten center come back, and there's no more playing time. You're in a backup role, and not many kids are willing to play the Donovan Clingan role, despite how dominant it can make your team. I think that was a very rare situation with a true freshman backing up, you know, arguably
yeah,
the player of the year in college basketball.
yeah. So
But
well, we'll see. I don't really know what they're going to do, but I mentioned it last pod too. I think there's this D2 kid, RJ something. He's like D2 player of the year, and I think he would be a great fit. But it doesn't seem like he has a ton of interest. I know I mentioned Penn State was interested, but I mean, this kid can shoot the shit out of the ball. Like I would go after him personally, but that's just me throwing a name out there. I don't really. That's just a guess. The same thing with the Fairfield kid, just a guess, just because of connections. But yeah, this is gonna be an interesting week or two for Rutgers basketball. But I will say I have to mention this. It's definitely not hitting a rough patch for recruiting.
No.
We can throw that one out the window. Rutgers doesn't get a basketball commit in like what, a month, and they're like, that's it, rough patch. Like what? Number one class almost, like number 3.
Pretty unhinged statement to make, given, we just got Lathan Somerville, who's a top 100 kid. We've got a top 5 kid committed. We're in the lead for another top 5 kid. We have, Delquan Warren, casually a top 75 kid committed. A little insane to say that we're on the downswing for basketball, but on the upswing for football.
It's pump the brakes there. It's still right now. It's still a hoop school. I hate to say it, but I don't hate to say it because last time I said that, Dave yelled at me. So Dave, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
I take that back. It's a hoop school. I love to say it.
We are, and that's not a bad thing. We can have 2 good sports. I'm not saying football is good right now, but it could be, and we could support both programs. It's not a big deal. But right now, basketball is clearly king in New Brunswick and Piscataway. We talked about a decent amount here. Is there anything we missed on that you wanted to bring up before we sign off?
2 things. Number 1, baseball is starting to get their feeling back. They're getting their mojo back.
Hot.
So I mean, and they beat Penn State yesterday too, as well, I believe.
Yeah, I know they won an 8-1 on Friday. I didn't see the score of yesterday's game.
I could have swore I read that they won again, but I might be wrong because give me one sec. I need to look this up.
They won 10-0 yesterday.
Yeah, so that's not a bad Penn State team. That's actually a pretty solid Penn State team. I would know, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I mean they're starting to get their mojo back. So if they can kind of put together a nice little streak of wins, you beat Princeton again in the midweek game. I still think they're undefeated in midweeks, which is nice. I mean, almost lost that one to Princeton, but they came back in the end. The Purdue series kind of stunk, but if you can get a couple more wins and just string together a nice little couple, what I'm trying to think. Illinois is the next series, and Albany they should be, and then Minnesota is a 3-game series. Might have to win a game or a series or whatever it is in the Big Ten tournament, but you have a shot at that NCAA still. It's not out of question. And it helps because their RPI this year is like through the roof compared to last year at least. They're killing it at home too. They're 13-3. Damn, like that's very impressive. Other thing I wanted to mention, and I think Aaron Brightman broke the news on this one. I'm not sure because I didn't see anyone else post about it, but well, that's kind of ironic. If you go to scarletfaithful.com, it goes to the Penn State site. It's thescarletfaithful.com. Okay. Zachariah Perkins, Zachariah, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct, but she's a 4-star forward from Texas, committed to Rutgers women's basketball. So pretty big get from Coquise, Washington, and crew. She's actually hitting the trail real hard. She hit on a transfer too, who was a former 4-star, I believe, as well. They got Destiny Adams, who we all mentioned multiple times because of her brother, who's actually a pretty good player in her own right. So yeah, this is huge. Like it's another big get for Rutgers women's basketball. I believe her mom, Perkins' mom, if I'm reading this right, Demaya Walker Wheatfall, high school All-American, and Rancocas. I don't even know if I pronounced that right. Rancocas Valley. Rancocas. What? Yeah, I don't go to South Jersey that often, if you can't tell. She's Virginia's all-time leader in field goal percentage, block shots. She's a WNBA title holder. So this is like a really good get. And the girl's a 4-star. Add in Maya Petticord, who was a 4-star, and Destiny Adams, who was, I think, a 4-star in high school. This team might be able to make a couple of things happen next year. I will admit, I was not convinced when Coquise Washington was the choice for the job, but she's slowly changing my tune there.
And that's mainly from what you were told from the Penn State side, right?
Yeah, that and her record kind of spoke for itself a little bit.
Yeah.
And then like when you started struggling early on, and they were getting blown out by like Seton Hall and Tennessee, mind you, great Tennessee team, lost to South Dakota State by 20, and I'm like, all right, well, shit, maybe I was right, but
Yeah. I mean,
um,
last year, I don't think you can really judge anything for Coquise
no,
because
of course,
C. Vivian Stringer really screwed Rutgers, to put it nicely. Kind of, you know, taking all these transfers for her final year, then not coaching. Then they had the assistant coach come in, and then how many scholarship players did we have last year? Like 7 or 8?
like 7, yeah, it was
Yeah,
bad.
7 scholarship players last year. So it was truly like a total rebuild. Um, and she's shown that she can recruit. Rutgers has a lot to you know a lot to sell to kids coming to the school. Especially we have a rich tradition in women's basketball. Like they all they need to do is bring the girls to a men's game to show what the rack could be like. Because I mean they're playing in the same arena. Not that it'll be the
Yeah,
same crowds, but what it could be. Um, so yeah,
but yeah, I just want to give her a shout out because that program is looks like it's on the rise.
yep. And a quick note on baseball: they are 9-3 in their last 12 Big Ten games and 14-3 in their last 17 overall. So they've clearly hit a hot streak.
Nice stride, yeah. So let's
Yes.
see if they can keep it going and go from there.
Yeah. So once again, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for all the people who have rated and reviewed.
Keep
We've
it up.
got
We're still on
keep it
number
up.
one.
Yeah, I do have a bit of a nit to pick though, because we
Oh,
did request only 5-star ratings, and somebody has
which
broken that rule.
fucking
The
bastard.
first person to break that rule, somebody named M. Harvey. M. Harvey, shame, shame, shame on you.
Yeah, come on, dude. Just because he retired the other day doesn't mean you have to like. Was it Matt Harvey? Or is that who it was? No.
Yeah, the Dark Knight is apparently doing evil now. So,
Ugh, jeez. I gotta check real quick because I'm from like 95% sure still. We're 93 ratings. Wait, what
mhm.
app did they rank us on?
They rank the 3-star was on Apple
Three
Podcasts.
star. It wasn't even. There wasn't four.
Wasn't even 4. It was 3.
Give me a
Shame,
reason.
shame, shame, shame.
Did he write a reason?
Yeah, he doesn't like Pat Hobbs apparently. So that's his reason.
Okay, that's fine.
Great
What?
insight, covers everything Rutgers, but I can't take the Hobbs love. Just say no to Hobbs.
Well, I don't
Ouch.
understand how people hate on Hobbs, but it's whatever. I mean, name an AD that has done more fundraising for Rutgers, has hired better coaches for Rutgers than Pat Hobbs. Please, I'll
Yeah.
wait. You can't.
Ultimately, is Rutgers raising money at the same level as some of our Big Ten compadres? No. But are we raising more money than we ever have as an athletic department? Yes.
Yes,
As have we hired more coaches that have won conference titles and finished in the top half of their conference than ever
conference
before?
titles. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't get
So
it.
yeah, it is what it is. But we really appreciate all you guys, and we're just busting balls. M. Harvey, you don't have to give us 5 stars, but we really
No, it's
appreciate all
okay.
the other people who did. But for me and Rich, this has been another edition. Oh,
Real
wait,
quick,
wait, wait, wait,
real
wait.
quick.
One thing. What we
We
got?
have 93 ratings on Apple Pods.
Mhm.
That other podcast that does Rutgers stuff that I'm not going to mention. You know, I'm talking about Fonz. It's you. 99 ratings.
Okay,
We need
we're
6
close.
ratings. I don't know if you have to steal your mom's phone, steal your brother's phone, steal your husband, steal your wife's phone. Go do it real quick and go rank us real quick. Just give us 5 stars. And I'll stop talking about Pat Hobbs. Okay, deal, deal.
Except
Okay,
when he
we're
comes
done.
on the show, which could be in June, right?
Yeah, we'll be in a month. Yeah, I don't know when in June, but we haven't figured it out yet. But he will be back. So Harvey, don't listen to that one. Just skip over that one and keep going.
We do have some tentative shows planned this week that I think you guys will really like. Some guests that
Ooh,
are going to give an interesting perspective on Rutgers sports. We'll just say that.
yeah. So.
But again, thanks for listening, guys. For me and Rich, this has been another edition of the Night Report podcast. Signing off.